But I wanted to know like how you got into buying large apartments, how you got introduced to that market.
That's a great question. So I went to RE Mentor School in 2009, started their education. And for those of you that don't know, that's where Tyler Devereaux came from. Tyler Devereaux used to teach for Dave Lindahl. He broke off on his own and started his own education company. So it's all the same. It's all coming from the greatest of all time. That's David Lindahl. He is the GOAT. And to be honest with you, I'm no overnight success. I took that education in '09. I was inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2018, as a matter of fact. So again, I always joke it took me 20 years to become an overnight success, right? And that's going to be the reality for all of us, right? That's just, whether you know it or not. Things may take off, but it took you 18 years to get that education for it to take off, right? That's kind of how it goes. But the honest answer is, even with that education, I still put money in somebody else's deal, another student that was further down the road than I was, so that I could be on this side of the counter or that side of the counter and see how things were handled, how they treated me, what communication was like, and how the investment did based upon the offering memorandum that they had provided me. I compared it to real results. It was reasonably close, not perfect, but reasonably close. And I did a few of those because, quite honestly, I was busy scaling my auto repair shops. I had one auto repair shop when I came across Dave Lindahl. I exited my auto repair shops with 5. So during that time, 2010 was our second, 2014 was our third. So about that time, between 14 and 18 was when I got my 4th store. I started investing and getting more actively involved rather than passively. And that's really the difference. LP is passive, GP is active. So I became active in about 2014, 2015 and started acquiring. And I started that by doing 1031s like we were talking about with Steve. I took some smaller stuff and traded it into larger stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever used your 1031 exchange, like the equity from that, into a deal for a large apartment?
Oh, yes. Yep. So we sold a 4-plex and a 12-plex, and we bought a 70-plex, and we 1031 into a friend's deal that was 96, half of it. Yeah. So I've done the majority of my 1031s has been into somebody else's deal. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we got 2 investors that are in our Las Vegas project. One sold I think it's an 11-plex in Florida, and he's putting $500,000 into that project. And another one sold a single-family home, and his proceeds from that luxurious home, his gain on that was like $630,000 that he's putting into the Las Vegas project. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And for those that don't know that, and again, I know this is going to be over the head of some people, but in order to do that, you set up what's called a tenant in common structure. And the reason for that is, in order to be eligible for the 1031, if you're selling a house, they call that dirt, so that analogy is dirt, you have to buy dirt. You can't buy into a syndication, because a syndication is shares. In other words, people that come into my deals, your deals, our deals, they're not buying dirt, they're buying paper, they're buying shares of a company. So in order for it to be legit, when you sell dirt, you have to buy dirt. So a tenant in common structure, one tenant owns a portion of the dirt. The other tenant, which is let's call it the syndication for our example, owns a portion of the dirt. So there's 2 tenants, they both own dirt, but this guy that owns this dirt does not own in the syndication, he owns in the TIC. So that is a brief overview of a very confusing statement, so I apologize for that. But just know that there's a way to do it, but it's not them coming into the syndication.